Have you been enjoying everyone's IG lives throughout quarantine? It's a mixed bag, right? Like, something that Clique has been doing throughout quarantine is we've been observing, just patiently observing what the culture is doing. We're just trying to watch what have poets and artists and creators been doing to continue creating and thrive through lockdown, through quarantine. At the top of quarantine, Clique, we were in the middle of recording for our third season of the podcast, but then all of a sudden, lockdown, that shut everything down, right? And instead of just rushing to create more content while we're stuck in our respective places, we just wanted to patiently watch, like, all right, what's everyone doing? And observing kind of like user behavior, like where is the attention going? Is everyone going to go to Twitch and YouTube, which are superior streaming platforms, or are they going to take to TikTok Live and IG Live, Facebook Live? Turns out everyone's kind of stuck on IG Live. And it's been really interesting because you've been getting these Instagram slams, you've been getting Zoom slams, Zoom open mics. It's been very interesting. It's a really cool way to connect community online to poets and people from across the country, across the world even. And it's been dope in that regard that we've been seeing a much more connected, digitally connected poetry community online. However, there's been a big frustration as well because you see a lot of people trying to shoehorn in these live event style platforms into these digital spaces. And when that happens, like there's a lot of frustrations because, we don't have, live snapping from a crowd. Instead, we have comments. We don't have people to be immediately on deck to come up next. We have to wait for them to call into the YouTube conversation, right? Or the Instagram live conversation. There's a lot of like weird things that happen that we didn't take account for. And there's like a little frustration because you expect this to be like a full live poetry event when really we're still struggling with the technology of it all. That being said, Clique, we were kind of looking at how can we get people onto YouTube? Because YouTube is where Clique, that's like where our wealth of content is stored at, right? It's like we want people to go on YouTube and it's like, hey, get out of Instagram, get out of Facebook, go on YouTube and join our YouTube live to watch us do these videos and tutorials and whatnot. The thing is that as we watched and tried to facilitate these YouTube lives, people were still staying on Instagram, and it makes sense. People don't want to have to click out to a different platform. You want to keep people within the platform that they're comfortable with. And we actually do much better on Instagram, and the conversion rate from Instagram to YouTube for us isn't great. That being said, we were wondering, okay, what would it be worth for people to click out of Instagram? That became the question. All right. And as we observed, more and more people just clicking into lives. And then when you watch the Versus series of like Teddy Riley versus Face or Erykah Badu versus Jill Scott, you see that people are choosing to stay, even though it's like a lesser stream platform and everyone sounds like a 56K modem throwing up. People are still sticking to IG because they don't have to click out to anywhere. They're choosing convenience over quality. And when that became apparent, now the question turned into, okay, how do we bring quality into Instagram Live? How do we make a good IG Live show? And in order to identify that, we had to first identify the weaknesses of IG Live, both the human side and the user interface side. From a user interface side, there are things that we really don't like, especially how when there are two people in an IG Live conversation, when that happens, the audio and video quality significantly drop. Solo IG Live is actually pretty decent, but when you involve another person, then they have to super compress the audio and video that way that they can be on sync on time. It just makes everyone sound garbled and sometimes it cuts in and out. Not great. Secondly, when you call into somebody's IG Live, the host is on top and the person who calls in live is on the bottom. And because they're on the bottom, that means that comments go over their faces. And it becomes just a headache to like kind of look past the comments like, oh, what are they doing back there? Kind of whack. On the human side, because this is an IG live conversation, and this isn't like a very streamlined live event, then, we have to endure a lot of like small talk, a little random banter. It's like, oh, how are you doing? What's the weather like down there? What time is it where you're at? And oftentimes we'll find ourselves watching 10 minutes of random banter before we get to the 2-minute poem or the 3-minute song. And it's just like a bad watching experience overall. So that's something that everybody can fix, right? Just streamline that. So we want to figure out if we could design around the IG Live user interface, and if we can just like edit out through just like clever copywriting or text over and script writing for the human side of it. And it took 2.5 weeks to develop, but that's how we came up with Off Page. It first brainstormed when we saw, I saw a tutorial on YouTube that showed how to use OBS and go into the IG live stream using Yellow Duck. So if it wasn't for that one tutorial, none of this would have happened. But secondly, it wasn't enough to just broadcast from OBS. I wanted to design everything so we can combat all the weaknesses of the IG Live user interface. So it was a lot of like experimentation, going on my personal IG at like 4 a.m, 5 a.m to test, okay, can I pin a comment while I'm broadcasting from OBS? Can I have full audio and video quality? Can I display motion graphics? Does alpha channel work? Does broadcasting at 1080 1920 work? What happens if I broadcast as a square, et cetera, et cetera? And after all that research, then that's when we started to say, okay, I think we're ready. Let's start hitting up some poets and artists. And it was the whole thing. We had to present to the poets and artists, like, look, we're going to make an IG Live that's like really fun to watch and bypasses all the bad stuff that happens on IG Live. And we're going to just streamline it down to the very essence of what people want to watch. We're trying to create a show that we would want to watch, that the poetry, culture, and community deserve to watch. And that's what we came up with Off Page. And just based on like the user reception afterwards, our IG Live, for our IG following is pretty small. But that being said, usually when we go on IG Live regularly, we'll get like 7 viewers, 12 viewers, whatever. But this time around, we got like 60 viewers. Like never have we got there. And on the 24-hour watch, we got over 300. And I was like, yo, that did bits. And we got like a lot of DMs and a lot of people texting us personally, yo, how'd you do that? That was crazy. That was dope. And the best part was a lot of people said, I wish it was longer. This was like our first test run of Off Page was, it was a test run. And for 5 guests, we boiled it down to like 30 minutes. And a lot of people have been saying, yo, that 30 minutes felt like 5 or it felt like 15. Like this shit went fast. And that's kind of what entertainment is supposed to do. It's supposed to be that escape. And when you're thoroughly entertained, that's when time just melts away, right? That's how binging occurs, right? So we hear you. We're gonna try to hit that sweet spot of 40 minutes next time. And next time, that being said, we're going to do it again. So throughout quarantine, we were trying to take this opportunity because like work's been slower for all of us. We've been trying to use this time to develop ideas we've had in the back burner and do a lot of the heavy lifting in building all the video and audio assets. And that way, once quarantine is lifted, now we have these toolkits, these templates to hit the ground running. So now we're going to do Off Page again in the month of June, and we have all the templates pre-built. And now it's a matter of just like, tweaking, polishing, change the color, change the font, this, that, and the other. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. So please, if you haven't already, please follow us on Instagram at PenClique, PenClique, the most poppin' poetry podcast on Instagram. And yeah, we're trying to bring to you like a poetry and music showcase that we would want to watch on IG Live as well. And it's something that we're really happy to present to the poetry culture as a whole, because because the better the art form is presented, the more people would want to watch and follow poets and follow poetry. And it's dope to have a helping hand in that. So really glad and really excited about the next IG Live off-page series. And yeah, who knows, maybe something else will show up as well. All right. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Instagram, and don't worry, we'll still be posting stuff on YouTube as well, but Instagram is where the conversation's at and the intention's at. So we're trying to bring the entertainment to the people where they want it. And if that's Instagram, we'll do that. If it's on YouTube, we'll do that too. All right, guys, Clique, gang, gang. You know what it is.